I'm Chris, and I'm the Inclusive Education Officer here at Down Syndrome International. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about our Inclusive Education project. I was a teacher for many years, and I was lucky enough to teach a little girl with Down syndrome for 2 years, and she really inspired me to rethink what the term inclusive education means. Now, we're working alongside the UK Down Syndrome Association to promote inclusive education in the UK for all children, including learners with Down syndrome. This is a pilot study, hopefully to be rolled out further across the UK, with the aim to shift mindsets and adapt processes and pedagogy. Now, we're working with DSI national member organisations in other countries around the world to similarly work towards more inclusive education systems. The project forms part of our wider work in education, and it builds on the key messages from DSI's international guidelines for the education of learners with Down syndrome, published in July 2020. Now, this project, this inclusive education project, is really a research project based on listening and questioning and asking and speaking to the people involved in this hierarchy of educating learners with intellectual disabilities. We began by understanding and identifying the different stakeholders within this system, including people with Down syndrome. So I've been interviewing and discussing and talking to and building relationships with as many different people in this hierarchy as possible, and listening to their views, opinions, experience, and what they think about what the term means and how it can be developed, transformed, and implemented. I've been researching the UK system of education and what different barriers and hurdles there are that stand in the way of learners with intellectual disabilities being correctly included alongside their peers. We've been trying our best to really define what the term inclusion and inclusive education really means, and how it can best be implemented and what it can look like in the different contexts across the country and for the different individuals and within the different classrooms. After doing a lot of research and having a lot of conversations, we have realised many, many more questions and many key messages which we're sharing over 8 months in our campaign. We're thinking about what inclusive education can look like for learners, what it can look like for all children across a school or a classroom and a school community, how it can feel, what it feels like to belong, questions about what parents expect and what they should aim for, what they should be looking to do to make sure that they're involved in the school community, and things for teachers, how they can be adapting and transforming and developing their pedagogy and their daily practice alongside all learners to create an inclusive culture in their classroom that will benefit all the children. We've got messages going out to school leaders, head teachers and principals about how they can best empower their staff, how they can get them as well trained and skilled up and to have the right mindsets to be open their arms, open their doors and welcoming neurodiverse learners into their classrooms and involving them and including them alongside everybody else. We're also working with student teachers and their lecturers and professors about how they can ready themselves and prepare themselves to enter diverse classrooms, what they need to be thinking of, how they need to be working, how they can best be spending their time while they're training to give themselves a really good chance for when they enter the classroom to be really good inclusive practitioners. We've also been talking and discussing with SEND consultants and professionals, getting their input and finding out different ways, different methods, different ways of thinking about education and about the education of learners with intellectual disabilities. All of this has formed our messages, and all of these messages are going out in our campaign over 8 months. We are working on a report that will be published at the end of this campaign, which will include learnings from the UK, from the system, what's happening on the ground, what's happening in classrooms, what's happening at a system level, and what recommendations we're going to put forward for the continued development and transformation across the UK, across different counties and inside schools, so inclusive education can continue to develop and progress. Now, we're also producing a process document which will detail how this work's been undertaken, how it can be used in different contexts across the UK and internationally. This will be rolled out at the end of this project, and it will enable other Down syndrome organisations to be able to replicate it or to do projects that are similar across the UK and internationally. Overall, we're advocating for ongoing development and transformation in education at the system level, at the whole school level, and at the staff level too.